Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, the place for internet technology professionals whose work-life balance plan has imploded. We are here to provide solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, this is Joanne Victoria, the I Know What Works coach. I am also the host of the Sanity IT Project podcast, which is a platform for experts in the self-development community to share their wisdom, expertise, and solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Our guest today is Trilby Johnson. Trilby Johnson is an author, speaker, and body energy alchemist. She specializes in supporting individuals to resolve their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual trauma and pain, and create a new, genuine sense of self, health, peace, and joy. Trilby has over 25 years of experience in behavioral psychology and the healing arts. She is also a successful author of 2 books. The first one is Fearlessly Alone: Stop the Lonely Crisis and Find Your Happy. And her collection of original quotes, aha moments, inspirational quotes to shift your thinking. Trilby seeks to continually transform her own life and uses all her tools personally. She has a degree in psychology and is certified in Neuro-Linguistic Programming, commonly known as NLP, Reiki, DNA activation, meta-coaching, holistic massage, and advanced healing processes. So welcome to the show today, Trilby Johnson. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Joanne. I'm really happy to be here and have this time to share what's worked with me with your listeners. Thank you.
I'm glad that you're here as well, because you're going to be talking about something that is vital to everyone who has a telephone, a smartphone, a computer, or several computers, and especially to my audience, the IT pro, who is always in front of the computer, always, 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 and how electromagnetic force affects them and how they can still be energized while being drained, in my opinion, because there's millions of people behind that screen, being drained on a consistent basis by your electronic tool. How do people do that, Trilby?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, being aware that this is going on. You know, it's not because we can't see it with our physical eyes that it's not going on. But as you just said, we are feeling it. We're feeling drained. It's affecting our energy levels. And why it does this is because our own body operates with electromagnetic fields. That's how the brain passes messages along the neurons. So if we're getting this huge influx externally, we need to do whatever it takes through various methods, diet, exercise, and being aware to enable our body to cope with this. And that means, you know, various things, taking frequent breaks, drinking hydrated water, preferably water that's from a spring, not from your taps, and certainly not with certain chemicals in. So pure water, and really tapping into what's going on for you. Technology is here to stay, and I think we're only going to be seeing it advance even more and more. So we really do not want to be left behind. In my personal opinion, the most sophisticated piece of technology that we have at our disposal is our body. But to make the best of it, we have to understand it, and we need to boost our own energy levels so that EMF, electromagnetic forces from outside, do not impact us. And, you know, there's some people say it's conspiracy stuff, you know, whatever. If it makes you feel terrible, then I would, you know, make steps to step away from it. You know, there's now virtual viruses and things like that, and they are definitely real. I've experienced 1 or 2 myself, and they are real. So we need to be aware of what's going on so that we can make the best of our technology without ruining our health, and actually get to know ourselves better in a way that technology is a complement to our natural resources.
I know that in most anything, I always suggest to my clients that they take a minimum 5 minute stand up and move at least every 45 minutes.
Yes.
And I think breaks are vital in anything that we do. If we do something consistently all day long, we need a break from that. And sitting and standing are two different modalities that help the body in different ways. If you stand, your energy will drain out. And if you sit, it congests right where you sit, pretty much. And I know that a friend of mine years ago was sitting in front of the computer when she got a stroke. And she had been too busy with too many clients online. And she had been sitting all the time. And she had a stroke, right?
Yeah.
And it started, I think they figured out it started in her legs. So people have to move. They have to, at least if they get up and shake their hands out, shake their feet out, just get that energy, this electromagnetic energy that we have, that is part of our body, out, so we're not having lightning strikes inside of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we can see this with, more and more people having problems to sleep, because of the brain being overstimulated by looking at screens, and of course off the screen as well, there is a bit of EMF. So it's not going to go away. This is a natural phenomena, but because it's happening in such large quantities, and most people are still not aware of it, absolutely, you've got to move. You've got to allow the body to reestablish its own EMF border. And a good thing is to also go and run your hands underwater of the tap. It just helps to ground the body, and it seems to calm that electric force, and bring the body back to its own. That's also a good tip, by the way, when you're flying from one time zone to another, is, just to help you with jet lag, just run your hands under the water. For that reason, is because water, no matter where it comes from, when it comes through the tap, it is coming from the ground somewhere. So it helps to ground. And spend time in nature. If you're in a big city or that, and you've got a tree outside your building, just go and stand near the tree. You don't have to hug it. If you want to hug it, that's fine.
Or at least lean against it, against the tree.
Yeah.
You can caress the tree without anybody knowing.
Yeah, just pretend you're leaning against it and pulling up your sock or whatever.
Right.
So there's definitely ways of doing it, but this is real. It's a real thing, and to be aware is always the first step. And hopefully it will also help people in realizing why they feel so drained. And, mobile phones as well. I don't know about you, but I hardly ever hold it up to my ear because I definitely feel the heat. So, and there have been tests about carrying your mobile phones in your clothing and things like that. So, it's not about going into fear and like, oh my God, it's about realizing your own power and that your body has the ability to adapt, but your body's only going to actually respond to what you allow it to. So if you're ignoring the symptoms, your body will just get louder, usually with negative symptoms like tiredness, drain, strength, or like with the example you gave, where you start to have major health issues. Take prevention is the cure, in the sense that if you're aware that it's disrupting your body just because there's so much, but your body does have the ability. And I think that's my message to people, because I work with so many people and I see there's a huge disconnect between ourselves and our body. And I'm not just talking about the physical body. We have several energy bodies, and all of these, work with this electricity or energy, whatever you like to call it. But energy likes to be directed. So direct your energy, stand up, move around, make sure that you yourself are grounded when you start to work. Take frequent breaks. We have to get into a routine and a lifestyle that supports us, because otherwise we will start to see physical and emotional mental symptoms, where people are just distraught and nervous and feel really disconnected, because that's really what is happening electrically. Your brain and your body is starting to struggle with its own messages. So we don't want that to happen, and it doesn't need to.
If your first stipulation was that people become aware, and I think that is probably the most difficult thing for people to do, because most people don't pay too much attention to what's going on in their lives anyway. They just,
exactly,
they just don't. And they get to a point where they have a complaint about something, whatever, and not thinking that it has anything to do with them, but they look at it as an outside source as a problem. So let's take a pill.
Yes, exactly.
Let's take a pill, but there's no pill for awareness. This mindful thing that people don't want to do. They don't want to screen their bodies before they get out of bed in the morning, or screen their mind as much as is possible. They just want to continue doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then wonder why, again, it's like people who drink. Gee, I wonder why I don't feel good. I'm guessing, I don't drink, so I don't know, but it's, doing the same thing over and over again. Oh, I know, I eat. So, oh yeah, my body's not going to be happy if I eat more sugar today. So that means that I have to stop eating sugar for a while. It's kind of simple, but then again, I'm a little more aware of what I want to be aware of. So
yeah, no, absolutely, and I mean that's yes, it is. It's about I think ultimately, taking responsibility for what's showing up in your life, and many are not yet at that place. The fact whether you take responsibility or not doesn't change that, there is a result to everything that we do. It's not just a motivational quote or, a philosophical ideal that what you sow you will reap. It really is a reality. It just might not be in the reality that most are functioning. So yes, inform yourselves and not mainstream media, okay, because that is distorted information. So look around, read, off the beat articles, and you can't force somebody to be aware, absolutely not. So but it doesn't change that we are all making choices, whether we're aware of them or not. And I have found that the greatest medium that we have as a feedback system is our body. It's we get all our creative and intuitive information through our body. And once you start to tap into that, then, there's this amazing access to so much more information. So, it's a bit like having a computer that you just never switch on and use. And that's what many people do,
we are
with
the
their
computer.
bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we must switch it on. And, if often health issues or relationship breakdowns, depression, even attempts at suicide, that's that's where perhaps people can stop and really say, okay, something's got to change.
Well, I want people to, I want to give out your website link before we move forward. And it's Trilby Johnson. That's Trilby Johnson, Johnsson, The Connective, Connective.com. Trilby Johnson, theconnective.com. And on her website, and I'm also going to have it on my website when this is published, is this an audio? It's an audio download. It's called De-Stress, Detox, Relax. Naturally and in under 10 minutes, a free audio download via her website. So can you tell us a little bit about that audio that people will be downloading probably right now, leaving the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's one of the resources that I found that is we all have it. It's free, and it's the most amazing, powerful tool we have. And it's a short audio on how to be present using the breath. And I know people say, oh, but I'm breathing anyway. Well, not really. And most of us are on automatic pilot. And yes, thank God the body knows how to breathe for us. But the breath is one of the body processes that we can switch onto manual, let's put it that way. And when you breathe consciously, there's a whole shift. And it's one of the most effective ways to de-stressing, detoxing, relaxing, also to help increase your body's natural supports and EMF and realign your energy so that your nervous system, your brain has time to find its natural equilibrium again. So that's a 9-minute audio, and if you're going to do the download, then I do suggest using it frequently, every day, in the morning for sure, and at night as well, at least until you retrain your brain and your body. But yeah, we really do have everything within our own database that we need. And the more that we tap into this resource, it just helps us to connect to ourselves, especially, and again, to ground us.
Yeah, the breathing issue. I don't think very many people breathe to the bottom of their lungs. I don't think very many people know how large their lungs are. And
absolutely,
the lungs take up most of the space in our chest cavity, if I'm not mistaken. And yet everybody takes these shallow, okay, I'm breathing. They're just taking these shallow breaths, which do absolutely nothing except make you more hyper. And when that's not a relaxing breath, they need to breathe down to the bottom of their lungs and push their bellies out. That's the way I learned. And people don't do that.
No, they don't. And, just basic biology is, the brain needs 2/3 of the oxygen that we breathe in. The brain, just the brain. So, if we're doing shallow breathing, which most of us do, which is just the top of the lungs, our brain is not getting sufficient oxygen to operate. And when the brain is experiencing lack of oxygen, it shuts down like areas of the body that, to keep going. So a lot of people, and that's why there is health issues, because our bodies are not getting the oxygen they need, because the brain says, well, me first, because, I've got to keep you going. So, absolutely. It's, sometimes some people, when they do yoga, then they start to realize the importance of the breath and just the difference it can make. I know from massaging people, just the tension that can be held in the rib cage. So stress has an impact on our physical body, and EMFs is a form of stress, even though we don't see it. It's stress in our body. It's making us tense, sitting in positions for hours on ends. And, if your rib cage, which is the protection of the lungs, can't expand, well, even if your lungs wanted to expand, they would soon hit up against the rib cage. So there's a whole thing going on there, and it really is about wellness, and using what we've already got, and no, there is no pill, there is no pill, and there's no quick fix. You can have quick turnarounds, but, if it's taken us, decades to get to a certain point, it will take a while to re-educate and to transform and change patterns, install others. But it is easier. We do need that first step of awareness. And one of the easiest ways, Joanne, what you asked earlier, to become aware is through the breath. And I explained that in the audio.
Good.
The breath and following your breath makes you aware.
There we go. That is just right on information. So how, you've been doing this for, well over 20 years. You've helped lots of people, and you work very hard to stay grounded yourself by writing, traveling, speaking, reading, enjoying your garden, and so on, and facilitating classes. During all this time, what lesson or advice has stuck with you about who you are, what you do, and how you help others?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I do. As I said, I use everything that I teach because it helped me transform my life when I was stuck and confused and looking for solutions. So I think for me, the biggest challenge has been to get to know myself. And I love Shakespeare's quote from Hamlet: "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man." And that has always resonated with me because I really have found that I believe our journey is to know ourselves, and that everything we see out there is a reflection of our beliefs, of our perspective. There are greater laws at play, but we do see the world as we are. And I'll give you an example. So I wanted to be happier and healthier, and I just wasn't clear how to do it. It's like today people say, "Oh yeah, just change your mind, your mindset." And I say that too. But what I offer is I show you how, because telling someone they have to change, that's not helpful.
No.
It wasn't helpful for me. Show somebody how to do it. There's that saying, you could catch a fish and give it to a man, but show him how to fish, and then he can do it for himself. And that's really what inspires me, because that's what I was looking for. And I have been on a quest, researching and really informing myself, looking at everything. Solutions are found everywhere, and it's so important to be open-minded and to keep on until you find what it is. Not so much what you're looking for, but what resonates with you. Because remember, the answers, it took me a long time to really realize that the answers are within me. So I totally can relate to that looking outside of myself. I fell into that trap, that yes, what I'm looking for is out there. I needed people to, approve of me. I needed to find someone to love me. I needed to have a successful job. And I did all that, and I still wasn't happy, and I certainly wasn't healthy emotionally. mentally or spiritually, so I kept on looking, and then looking at the beliefs that were there and asking myself, did they serve me? And I think probably letting go of everything that didn't serve me. So, but for that, you need to know yourself. You need to know yourself. And, I've changed countries 4 times, and that's could be extreme. Not everyone has to do that, but I can tell you, you take yourself with you wherever you go.
No kidding.
Halfway, I've been, twice halfway across the world. And, after a while, I saw the same patterns emerging. And at first I thought, oh my God, this shit keeps on following me around, and say, yeah, because it's coming from a belief within me, So I had to get to really know myself very well. And I talk about that in my book, Fearlessly Alone, because I think a lot of people misunderstand solitude. They're afraid of it and being alone. And when you can be alone, it offers a great opportunity to really get to know yourself and be honest. You can't lie to yourself, not forever.
Not forever.
And yeah, absolutely. And then there are things, pressed traumas and pains and things like that. So that's where the body is so amazing, because the body is so willing to release that. And that's a lot of the work I do with clients, is to help to transform and release that energy. So release that from their electromagnetic field, so they can move on. Because if we don't have time to remember everything we've done, for goodness sake, there's a reason it's called short-term memory, and even that I'm struggling with lately. So, it's time to go in. It's like you'll go in and clean your computer files, and you find all those temporary files there in your cache. And you got to clean them out, folks. Otherwise, eventually your hard disk is going to be overflowing and your computer will want to crash. So that's what your body is a information antenna, and it's taking in everything. The brain records everything that ever happens to us, whether we remember it or not. And this is the subconscious, is this huge, it's the hidden memory, that's running your machine in the background. And how many of us, and even IT experts don't usually go there. So, and it's not about taking that on, because that can seem overwhelming, but there certainly are techniques that when you know yourself, when you get to know yourself, you will know, oh, I need to take a break now. I've been sitting in front of the screen. You'll respond better to your body's aches. You'll think, oh, I'll go have a massage, or I'll go into nature. You'll start to serve yourself. And I truly believe that, when we are true to ourselves, we're a beacon to other people, because isn't that what we came to do? We came to be ourselves and complement each other. I really believe we're here to complement each other. As many people as there are on the planet today, that's how many chances of complementing each other we are. And so knowing yourself is so important, and self-love, accepting yourself, how you are and who you are, and loving yourself. So that's been my lesson. And it's, as someone who did not love myself, I can say that it's changed everything. And currently I'm really just enjoying the stages of how my life's emerging and unfolding as I explore how different the world looks, because I am now different, So it's not, some people would say, oh, it's woo-woo stuff or whatever. Fine, call it whatever you want. But if you're not feeling good about yourself, find out what it is that's disturbing you and make it right for you,
There you go, people. You've heard it. Go to Trilby Johnson, theconnective.com. You can check out her book, Fearlessly Alone, Stop the Lonely Crisis and Find Your Happy, and also have access to the De-Stress, Detox, Relax free audio download. Thank you so much for being here, Trilby. And the best thing our audience can do is tell other people to listen to this podcast. That's the best that can be done. You know, we've tried the reviews on iTunes. That doesn't get us anywhere. What gets people anywhere is when they listen to what these experts on this podcast have to say to help you. Not only the IT pros who I know who are listening, but other people who enjoy these podcasts as well. You can go to my website, AskJoanneVictoria.com, and download a free copy of The True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. Thanks, everybody, for being here with us today. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great life. This is Joanne Victoria and Trilby Johnson saying bye for now.
Bye, and thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com and continue the conversation on her podcast page. And get a free copy of her book, The True Self Handbook, a guide to transform your life. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.